So there I was in the big house, still trying to make my decision on just who the perp was. It felt like I had been standing here a whole week, but barely a minute had passed. Somehow I had forgotten how I used to talk just moments before, and every word out of my trap was a muddle of accents, never quite settling where it used to be. It was strange. But I had no time to reflect on it, as I was immediately interrupted by the police chief, Zephos, shouting and hollering, telling me to get out of his prison. But I wouldn't budge. I had a crime to solve, and one of these guys did it. He starts shining his flashlight in my face. He had a thing for torches. He tells me I'm annoying some very important people who don't like me snooping around. Says that the case is closed, to drop it and skedaddle. I didn't know what skedaddle meant, but he pulled out his trusty diamond revolver. I wasn't a sucker. I wasn't a fool. Suddenly it became clear to me that there was a much bigger player in this game of Scribble Noire. I was gonna take matters into my own hands and find out just who was behind this. I hitched a ride with my buddy on the force. I got the impression he too knew something was up. Someone was trying to silence the cops, make everyone forget, but a dinosaur never forgets, and neither do elephants, and neither did I. Me and T made our way back to the scene of the crime. Maybe we had missed something. Maybe we just had to retrace our steps. It was then I noticed something strange about the cat. It was purple. Now, I had seen a lot in my time, but I ain't ever seen a purple cat. It didn't play by the rules of reality. I sighed. I knew this was a result of magic. Magic wasn't exactly my forte. It had led to bad things happening in my life, people I loved leaving me, and I had sworn to myself I would never go back to those ways. I was older now. I had grown up, but it was the only lead I had, and sometimes you just have to let a little magic into your life. I retraced my steps to the forest. The Luganese pig was still sobbing. I asked if there was any other information he could give me, but I couldn't get another word past his mouth. No matter how much the pig squealed, the fella riding him just wouldn't do the same. That's when I saw them. When I was a kid, I used to believe that mushrooms were alive. They could talk to me. They made empires. It was as normal as a purple cat, but they wouldn't talk no more. I had become too cold and distant. But magic never really goes away. When you see a rainbow, or you fall for a hot dame, it's always there. You just have to be willing to see it, or hear it, in the case of the giggling forest sprite I would then meet. "Hello, everybody," he said. "I'm Littlewood, also known as Martin." He spoke in riddles, but all I had to do was open my heart, listen to the birds singing, wind blowing, clouds rolling. Suddenly, everything made sense. I gathered 3 pieces of advice from his riddles. The first one was to follow the sound of music. The second one was to not let anyone stop you from doing what you want to do. And the third one was to always trust in the abilities of your friends. I wasn't quite sure how that would help me, but he just winks at me and giggles as he flies off into the sunset. A single tear rolls down my cheek, but I knew exactly what music to follow, and it would lead me back to the captive creeper. Waiting outside is the bodyguard, stripping. He had some impressive guns, and his pistols weren't anything to laugh at either. Tells me that a band called Area 11 is playing a private gig, and I'm not allowed inside. I have followed the sound of music. Now it was time for part 2 of the riddle. Don't let anyone stop me from doing what I want to do, and I wanted to get inside that bar. I knew the muscle's weakness. Dames, skirts, broads, kittens, flowers, babes. Those all mean women. I tell him about a theater goer just down the street looking for someone to give her a good time. His eyes light up and he speeds down the alley. All too easy. I couldn't just stroll in through the front door. I had to take a covert approach, find another way in. T, please stop eating the evidence. Looking around, I saw that the windows on the top floor were open. I had an idea. I asked T to try and give me a boost up onto the windowsill, and as I slowly climbed up onto his head, I tried to reach for the window, but it just wasn't quite enough. I'm suddenly interrupted by my phone going off in my pocket. I retreat back towards the alley so no one can hear me. It's Cindy. Tells me the classy owl lady is back, still raving about her birds. I still didn't give a hoot, but I'm reminded of part 3 of the riddle. Trust in the abilities of your friends. I tell Cindy to get here immediately. If there was one thing Cindy knew how to do better than anyone else, it was being an inanimate brick. Just what I needed for that extra bit of leverage. Working together we were unstoppable. Even if I couldn't use magic, even if I couldn't hit anything with a pistol, even if the police were against me, I still had something better than all of that. I had my friends. And as I peered in through the window, what I saw next changed the case completely. It was no longer a kidnapping, it was now a kidnapping. What I mean by that is that Launer wasn't missing at all. I could recognize his mad cackling anywhere. He had kidnapped Hybrid Panda and put him in a cage. But he wasn't alone. He was laughing with someone else at the table, another joker. I tried to edge closer along the window, try and get a peek at exactly what it was. The cage was in the way. I couldn't see clearly. I just had to edge a little bit closer. This would solve the case completely. When suddenly all I feel is the air beneath my feet. Crash. Strippin was back, and he had somehow wooed the favors of practically every woman in the town. This wasn't good. Multiple witnesses for me trying to sneak in through a window. Strippin had a way with women, almost like a superpower, but little did he know that I had the same power. I had experience with women myself. I told them it wasn't what it looked like, and they seemed to be coming round to my side. But Strippin was strong. He shows off his guns. And yes, I meant muscles. It was a stalemate. Neither of us could convince these women one way or another. And then I heard it. The slow, steady beat of that drum. Ringo charges out of nowhere, baaing like crazy. He runs forward, ramming into the whole crowd. I needed this distraction. I tell Strippin, look behind you. He turns and immediately jumps on the sheep. Ringo bought us time. Time to skedaddle. I still didn't know what that meant, but I jumped on T and picked up Cindy. We had to get to Police Chief Zephos before Strippin did. We couldn't go back the way we came through the forest, couldn't risk Ringo charging at us too, so we ended up very lost, in a part of the forest we'd never even seen before. We had no idea where we were going, we could only carry on forwards, and then we see it. A door to a pool storage room. It had a note on the door that read, employees only. This must be one of the pool stores that the local pool shark Nilesy set up. Maybe he knew something, maybe he was still around. I told T and Cindy to stay on watch, and I head up through a cave trying to find the store front, and boom, there it is. I had seen other stores he had set up through the town, but they were always run down, boarded up windows, no customers. I had never seen one quite this impressive. I figured someone was coming around, maybe he just had a boost of sales, but he would have needed a lot of diamonds to afford something this awesome. It wasn't just normal pools, there were portable ones and pool accessories. Regardless, he wasn't here. I tried shouting out his name and I got no answer, but what I did hear was a massive explosion downstairs. T had busted open the door to the pool storage. He smelt a rat, and he wasn't far off. I sneaked into the storage room, and immediately I discover all of the missing animals. Raz's squid, Lomadia's owls, and there was Honeydew's pig. Some pigs really could fly. There was a sheep I later learned was named Guy, and a chicken by the name of Miss Clucky. And there was Fishton. He was sleeping with the fishes. But that's okay, because he's also a fish. I picked him up in my hand, and I started freeing all the other animals. I now had Fishton, a witness. I didn't know how or why they did it, but I knew it was the mad scientist and his pool shark friend. It was time for justice. I was going to take matters into my own hands, confront him face to face, so I headed back to the captive creeper, but the force is there, led by Zephos. Strippin's telling him how I've been snooping around, and they've managed to capture Ringo again. This wasn't good. Zephos starts screaming at me, tells me I've gone too far and meddled too much, but now thanks to Strippin he could lock me up. Me, the only person who seems to care about this whole situation. The force was corrupt, no true justice was going to be served today, but just as I was going to surrender, my guardian angel arrives. Sure, it was a pig with wings, but you take what you can get. Honeydew starts cheering and shouting, "Woohoo! She did it! She saved my pig, Zephos! My pig's back! Don't you dare lock her up! She's a hero! Please, even if you don't trust her, trust me, your old friend Honeydew!" Turns out they used to serve on the force together. Zephyr sighs, but finally lets me pass. He thought I was just going back to my office, but I had other ideas. Justice would be served today. My friends guarded the door for me. This was my case. I was gonna solve it. "Launer!" I shout. "Release the panda immediately!" He just laughs, tells me that it would be no good. The panda works for him now. I'm confused. Why would Hybrid Panda work for the guy that kidnapped him? Luckily, Launer was never one to pass up explaining a crazy new invention. Tells me he's been brainwashing all the animals. The pool sharks offered him a limitless supply of diamonds in exchange for getting the animals to work for him and sell pools. It all made sense. Sort of. I mean, as much sense as that can make. But this was how Nilesy could afford all that new gear. People weren't gonna buy pools from him, but who could resist a pool from a cute little panda? And there he is, sitting in that chair. The criminal mastermind, the pool shark, but he was in over his head, getting too big for his own pool. He was like a fish out of water. He had been thrown straight to the deep end, and I wouldn't let this just be water under the bridge. Taking him down would be like water off a duck's back. I'm awesome. I bust Panda out of the cage, but Launer's still laughing. "You fool," he says. "Didn't you hear me? He's on my side. He fights for me now. With my brainwasher gun, I could even turn your best friend against you. T the dinosaur will fight for me." Panda charges at me, starts clawing at my face, cuts my cheek. That'll be a new scar. But luckily I learned something from the best. The Shadow Broker taught me to always be prepared for any situation. I was prepared for a crazy scientist and a pool salesman who were trying to brainwash animals and create a global pool monopoly. Well, okay, I wasn't really prepared for that. I just had a trank gun in case I ran into Ringo again, and such a solution happened to work on brainwash pandas. Launer was shocked. His plan was foiled. I smirked and said a really cool one-liner that I can't remember, but it was awesome. I brought them back to the medium house. After getting statements from everyone the two crooks had wronged, Zephos was finally happy with me. The case was closed. I turn and ask if they have any last words.
"Oh, I'll get out of here. You'll see. I'll sell pools everywhere. Everyone will buy them. You and you and you. I would have gotten away with it this time if it wasn't for that meddling girl and her pet dinosaur. But you'll see. You'll see. Pools for everyone. Pools for everyone."
Later that week, Mayor Ridgedog held a ceremony at City Hall, praising me for saving all the pets. Almost everyone was there, and I was offered the key to the city. But I declined. I decided I didn't want to do this job for the fame or fortune, for any fancy medal or key. I wanted to do it because I see out there people miserable in their lives, feeling wronged or like there's no justice. I just wanted to make the world a better place, put smiles back on people's faces. People are awesome, and I just want them to be happy. There would be many more cases to solve, many more people to help, and I didn't want to ever lose sight of that, the people that needed me. Who knows what mystery or crime awaits me next? I waved goodbye to everybody watching the ceremony. Catch you next time. "8 a.m. I get into the office early. I had slept easily that night, and I had just picked up the rag when I get a buzz on my ringing phone, film noir lingo. A guy by the name of Artemis Hanzo claims a man wearing a banana suit with a pink chainsaw for an arm is going around stealing all the food in Capital City. About 30 other people have seen him too. I had a new case to solve, a rather silly one, but a case nonetheless. I told Cindy to hold my calls. It was time to serve more justice. To stop the silly object of the week. Dun dun. I headed to Capital City. Waiting for me on the roof of an apartment building is the villain. He loves stealing fruit, but I had one of my own. Let's see how he likes my pineapple. Okay, that's not actually what I meant. That was too literal. I meant a grenade. There we go. Unfortunately, my previous attempt clued him in on what I wanted to do, and he dodged it easily. He starts chucking fruit at me. I have to make a quick escape to another roof. But I had a trick up my sleeve. Something I've been working on in my lab back home, because I'm also a superhero. A mech. I hadn't really used it before and the systems were a bit alien to me, but I knew it could fly, so I checked to the skies. All systems seemed to be working normally, and the target was locked on. There is only one solution to this. I would have to shoot a banana bomb straight into his banana face, and boom! There it is! Justice is served! Catch you next time! You're all awesome! Bye!
Oh yes. Oh yeah. You think you've beaten me? Huh? You think that's it? Hold on, I'll try again. Oh yeah. You think you've beaten me, don't you? You think this is it? Game over? It's not game over, Zoey. I'm gonna get out of here one day and I'm gonna get you, and I'm gonna sell you a pill and you're gonna like it. And do you know why? Because Nalzi always wins, baby girl. Nalzi always wins, and I will get away with it next time because you won't be around. I would have gotten away with it this time if it wasn't for that pesky girl and her meddling dinosaur, but next time it won't be the case, and you'll see. Oh, you'll see. Okay, that's enough. If you need more, just tell me.